Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our very first webinar. We're planning on doing these monthly, and hopefully, moving forward, we're going to we're going to be able to have a lot more suppliers interested, and hope and more members getting involved. Um, Today, we're going to be joined by our friend Chris Adams from Simoniz. He's going to be talking about Simoniz's introduction into the Jansan industry with their aerosol programs and floor care options. These webinars are being recorded, so they're going to be made available on all of our social media platforms, hopefully within a few days, and we're good to go. Chris, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Doing
That's
terrific.
awesome. Awesome. So I knew you gave me a deck for us to go through today. I'm going to do a quick screen share and let me know
Okay.
whenever you're ready.
Yeah,
Can you see my screen?
I sure can. Yep.
Awesome. So whenever you're ready.
Oh, that sounds good. Well, first of all, Courtney and the NISCO team, I want to thank all of you for the opportunity to share a little bit about Simonize. It's a great story. Most don't know it, so relative to the presentation that I'm going to make over these next 30 minutes, I'll give you a bit of a background on who Simonize is and kind of historical context. And then we'll get into a little bit about some of the things we're doing, particularly in the Jansan space, and where we can become, I think, increasingly relevant to the distributors, all the NISCO members. Um, there's some nuances here I think most distribution will appreciate. And then we'll talk a bit about some of the support mechanisms and tools that we have to support the members. And then we'll get into a very brief discussion relative to aerosols. I know that's one area that provides an opportunity for, for the membership. So that's great. So with that, why don't we, Court, why don't we go to slide 2, and I'll give
Awesome.
some historical context relative to the company. So just some really interesting facts about Simonize. We started in 1910. It's really it's a great story of entrepreneurship. So starting in 1910 in Chicago, without going into a lot of the detail, but it was really oriented around the automotive work that the company still does around car wax and some of the interesting things that they did. And you'll still see in some of the old videos of baseball teams like the Yankees, as an example, or the Dodgers, Brooklyn Dodgers, you'll see Simonize ads in some of those highlight reels. Kind of interesting. So, they really focused on the car wash segment of the business. Then back in 1954, the institutional division, when you look at the timeline here on the deck, the institutional division was developed. And that's where we moved from kind of the car washing and the floor wax furniture and some of those other things. We started to move into new venues of distribution and really started to develop some of the retail branding that more, we were being more aggressive with our retail branding. And in 1957, this is when we really pushed what we called, it was our Vista one-step cleaner and wax. That was a one-step process that was pretty unique. And then kind of fast forwarding up through 1986, the company was part of a divestiture with Union Carbide. So, and in '88, First Brands entered into a license agreement with Syndet Products, and this is where it kind of brings us to where we are today. So the brand had been kind of passed through some really interesting companies, and First Brands, most everybody knows it's an automotive aftermarket company I think they're out of Cleveland. So anyway, Syndet was we were producing the product with it. Simoniz was working with Syndet, and then we ultimately in 1997 we purchased the product from Syndet, Simoniz USA, purchased the Simoniz brand from First Brand. So it is really interesting. We've done a lot of kind of the brand has been kind of passed through a lot of different hands, and then ultimately where we reside today is up in Bolton, Connecticut. Um, so it's interesting. The foundation of the company was really built on some furniture wax, floor wax, and some of those things, and then really grew under what's called the Union Carbide Syndet leadership into the automotive aftermarket, and then ultimately purchased by the ownership group today up in Bolton, Connecticut, and that's where we still reside. All the products are manufactured up there. Majority of the products are manufactured up there. There are some OEMs that we still work with, but really interesting story. And then for those, some of the distributed NISCO members will remember this company. It's called Harvard Chemical. That company was founded in 1986 in Atlanta. And then in 2017, I believe, Simoniz USA acquired them. So what that did for us was create a pretty significant synergy, where now the total product platform of all the products that we produce is almost 3,000 cleaning products, which is a real deep offering compared to most other manufacturers in the same space. So just a little bit of background around who we are, where we came from, because most recognize the brand or have passed as they grew up through, with their families, or they see the product. People will recognize the brand for a lot of different reasons. Gives a little bit of context in where we are today. So, all right, Court, ready for number 3. So what we want to do, and it's not unlike what other manufacturers are doing in this space. When you think about a Gojo Industries or you think about S.C. Johnson, what we want to do as a company is leverage the brand in the professional space, and that really means leveraging the brand equity that we've got with Simoniz. So there's some highlights here on this deck, specifically relative to consumer awareness, going back to the historical context that I was providing earlier on the other slide. 70% consumer awareness, which is really interesting. That's driven by not only the brand, but the quality that the brand represents. And then relative to what we do as a company, most of that's done on the retail side. We have a huge platform relative to the retail space at Simoniz. So we do over 700 million consumer impressions annually through national advertising. So some of you might have seen some of the recent ads that we placed in the Wall Street Journal and USA Today, really oriented around development of the brand and creating some brand awareness. You'll see it in a lot of on the retail side of our business. You'll see a lot of FSIs and promotional materials over there too. So, and the goal for us ultimately is, particularly with the work that we're doing now in the JanSan space, is to reinforce the fact that anybody that works with us will have significant market support, along with a highly important brand, leveraged by all the work that we've done in the car wash space. Okay, ready for slide 4.
Okay.
Today, as we build out our JanSan offering, we have a huge, very deep offering of product. So a couple of things relative to that. Number one, we've got a whole selection of a large group of chemists and technicians that support the manufacturing of a lot of these products, majority of these products, up in Bolton, Connecticut. And the reason I bring that up is because it provides a lot of opportunity for those that might want to do we'll talk about it later, some private label products, unique, not only for private label branding, but might have a unique formula that they want to advance through their company. We have the ability to develop some of the formulas. We've done it in the past, and it's been very successful. And the other thing, going back to our brand, we have a rigorous quality control team that ensures that everything that we manufacture goes through these tests, and it's really driven by some of the initial work we did on the retail side. But all our products go through a rigorous testing mechanism. I know in some cases, other manufacturers in our space don't do that, so you're assured of high quality when you receive these products. We guarantee everything. So if for some reason we haven't delivered on the promise, we'll take that back without any questions. Um, so the other thing that we've done when we were building out the portfolio, there's kind of the traditional markets that we operate in, which is the traditional Jan Sand space. But we've expanded into healthcare, restaurant, food service. We get involved deeply in the educational markets. Um, we've developed some new quad products that are really interesting, and we continue to invest in some of those products. We're going to be offering some and revisiting some of the products that we currently have. We'll be offering some new ones with new kill claims, which is really exciting for us. Um, so we get in a lot of different markets. And one of the things that I think we bring to bear outside of, let's call it traditional, maybe some of the non-traditional hybrid markets, we also have significant offerings in what we would call um, the industrial the industrial chemical space, including pressure washing. So that's high margin product, um, relatively unique for the space. You won't see many core traditional chemical manufacturers operate in that space. We provide an extensive portfolio of products that can play there, and what that does is opens up for more distribution for NISCO distribution. Opens up the dialogue between kind of the front of the shop, talking to the janitor, maybe the food service managers, and all of those type of those offerings migrates into the back of the shop, including some of the maybe those companies that are delivering product or have a fleet of trucks that they're managing. We now provide that opportunity. So go all the way from break room to the back of the shop. We have extensive offerings that we feel compelling enough that allows any distributor to use our products will provide them significant opportunity. Okay, ready to go to slide
Great.
5?
All right.
Yep. So I thought this would be a great opportunity for us to kind of go through just 4 different points relative to Simoniz. Certainly financial strength being one of them, and that's financial strength more than anything else just provides distribution and opportunity, and it provides us an opportunity to be flexible with distribution. So common themes of guaranteeing inventory and developing specific products, and supporting labeling, and maybe supporting unique market opportunities that most companies might not support. We have the financial strength to work with distribution. We always want to keep those doors open. Everything, it's what we found. It's kind of a market of one where everybody has their own little niche that they want to work towards. Most distributors have that, and we want to make sure that we're supporting those things, whatever they might be. Relative to market programs, a whole list of products there, marketing programs from co-branding to doing FSIs and telemarketing and a whole variety of things that are available to distribution. Essentially, we're open to anything that a distributor wants to try. If the worst we can do is say no, but I know in my most recent experience with a company, they've said yes to everything. So whatever that might be, from market facing and user type work all the way to development of their own brand, we have resources to support that. Then relative to field support, a couple of things that we wanted to add. Most recently, it was done probably a handful of years ago, but we added certifications and training to the work that we do, really around floor care. That was the genesis of the training, and then we're adding some additional training on top of that. And then it's really important, particularly in today's supply chain environment, that we have quick responses to the requests for information and queries that we get. So whether it's the field sales organization, the management team, or anybody back at corporate, we're able to respond quickly. We understand the importance of that. It's the time of sitting and waiting 48 hours is long gone. So you'll find us to be very responsive and supportive. And then finally, probably maybe most important, relative to all the work that's being done now in the supply chain area, we've made significant investments in inventory. And what that does for distribution, I don't have to share that, but it's worth calling out that instead of distributors investing in pallets and pallets of product, we're able to manage the distribution and support NISCO members with some of the finished goods inventory that we hold up in Bolton, Connecticut. So what it does, it really kind of stabilizes order patterns for distributors. You don't have to make significant and huge investments in inventory when you have a manufacturer that's willing to support you relative to finished goods. And it's worth calling out when you do private label products, certainly there'd have to be an agreement. But when we do private label products, we have the capability of keeping that inventory in Bolton, Connecticut, so you don't have to store that. So if there's an opportunity that's significant and you're concerned about an investment that you have to make relative to private label, talk to us. We can work something out to support you. And then because of our scale, leveraging some of the things I was sharing earlier relative to the retail side, our scale allows us to do some very interesting things relative to hedging on raw materials back in Connecticut. So that what that really means is just supporting the production and the demand patterns, the variability that we're seeing relative to demand patterns with distribution. So by hedging and having such a large group of facilities up in Connecticut, we're able to support distributors at a higher level without any kind of supply chain disruption or back orders for the most part. We still have some challenges. I don't want to mislead, but those are mitigated by some of the work that we did pre-pandemic. I think we're on to the last one.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks, Court. So not to get too detailed relative to some of the products that we have, but it has come to light and it was shared with me that many of the NISCO members have challenges with aerosols, and I've highlighted some of the aerosols that we have. We have a complete portfolio of aerosols up in Bolton, Connecticut, ready to go. So if there's opportunities that you want to talk to us about, we have aggressive pricing, we have inventory, we have manufacturing capabilities up there. So we're relatively unique relative to the portfolio that we provide, and would love to talk to you about that. So if there's opportunities to advance dialogue with Simoniz and you're looking at your aerosol portfolio, we'd love to talk to you about it. So anyway, so it's a quick for everybody on the call. It's just a quick synopsis or an overview of who we are. I went through the historical kind of view of what Simoniz is all about, where we came from, provided a little bit of detail around our brand and how that's leveraged, and then a deeper dive into the JanSan side of our space. I'll tell you just to close, we're growing significantly relative to JanSan. The majority of the business that we have is primarily up and down the Eastern Seaboard, driven by some of the acquisitions that we've had and acquiring and moving the old sales organization into our business. But we're being very aggressive in the Midwest and migrating out to the West Coast. So significant opportunity for those distributors that want to jump on board with us. So, Cora, I think we'll open it up for questions if there's any questions for me.
Great. Well, Chris, I think it's amazing that Simoniz is going to be able to be providing these aerosol options to members going forward. As you talked about, these supply chain issues that we've been dealing with globally, aerosols have taken such a huge hit over the years, especially when we're talking volume. One of the questions that came in during your presentation, and I know you talked about supply chain and how Simoniz is working to combat it, but can you talk about how you think Simoniz is going to be dealing with these global supply chain issues going forward to help assure that these aerosol options are going to continue to be available
Yeah,
at the volume that membership needs?
yeah, Courtney, great question. And based on my individual conversation with NISCO
Mhm,
members, the ones that I've spoken with, we're doing a couple things. First of all, the comment that I made relative to, let's call it, raw material hedging, that's really helped us an awful lot. So if you think
mhm,
about just from a production perspective, our ability to do some unique things that most suppliers either don't have the capital to do, or let's call it the space. So we talked briefly about that. The other element that we're really working hard towards, and I'm a huge proponent of this, is really around wholesale support.
mhm,
So that's something that I think been leveraged significantly by NISCO members. And out of that, there was a recognition when we were putting our wholesale program together. We certainly understand that Simoniz does the importance of access to contract pricing, the importance to have that level of support. Um, most members when they develop maybe a relationship with chemicals and they're selling it to their end users, they need contract pricing support or their margins degrade.
mhm.
So we
Absolutely.
get that. So we're working hard on the wholesale side. There's a number of wholesalers, all the key guys, Ascendant, SB Richards, Dot, and RJS,
Mhm.
Shinner. We're working with all of them to help mitigate some of that.
That's excellent. That's excellent. Are there any particular regions that Simoniz has had more success in the wholesale market in?
Yeah, that's another great question. The majority of the support and success we've had, again, I would argue it's probably Midwest and the East Coast. So that's good.
That's
It's
great.
it's really interesting. So anything over on the other side of the Mississippi, huge greenfield opportunity for NISCO membership. And I
Hmm.
can tell you when we've done brand studies out on the West Coast, everybody most know who Simoniz is because of
Hmm.
the retail work that we've done, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, to your point, and again, a great question. We're really the majority of the business you'll find is primarily again up and down the Eastern Seaboard. So there's for NISCO members that I wouldn't even call it pioneering because it's a brand that's well regarded and recognized. There's
Hmm.
significant opportunity to leverage some of the supply chain things we just talked about and spec out Simonized products into their end users. And I wouldn't say it's an exclusive. It wouldn't be, but based on all the tools we provide and the supply chain support that's there, the margins can be pretty significant. I will tell you this, Court. One final comment here. When I've done margin analysis, from a let's call it kind of a supply chain perspective, where I've had access to data looking at the call it the premier number one JNC chemical companies against where we are with Simoniz, our margins are significantly deeper and the breadth of product, with a few exceptions, not many, is much
Hmm.
wider. So there's huge opportunity for the right distributor.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Well, those are the questions that rolled in. Um,
Yeah, very good.
so,
Very good. Well, as a wrap up, first of all, again, I want to credit you and Travis and the team for allowing me to go through this. It's a great opportunity to get the Simonize name out.
well, thank you, Chris.
Most,
We really appreciate your time on this as well.
yeah, no, it's great. It's a privilege to be part of the group. So, you got some slides there, and if anybody's interested in talking further about whether it's their supply chain challenges, aerosol challenges, new market opportunities, private label, I think we can bring significant resources to bear to make sure that these guys are successful.
Excellent. Well, to our members viewing, if you have any other questions, feel free to email me. It's cwood@nisco.com. Or if you want to reach out to Chris Adams, he'd be available at cadams@simonize.com. And again, we're going to be doing these webinars monthly, and hopefully we see you again next time. You have a great rest of your day, and thank you so much for joining us today.